Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we get into the source material and pull out the best bits. Today, we're strapping on our, metaphorical stone-cutting gloves for Ken Follett's 1989 epic, The Pillars of the Earth.
Yeah, it's quite a book, and such a huge shift for Follett, wasn't it? I mean, he was the thriller guy, then suddenly this massive 800-plus page historical saga.
Totally. And he didn't just switch genres. He somehow managed to apply that thriller pacing to, 12th century cathedral building. It works surprisingly well.
It really does. So our mission today, I guess, is to unpack how he brought that century to life.
Exactly. It spans, from the sinking of the White Ship, that's 1120, right up to Thomas Becket's murder around 1170.
And Follett's own story is interesting there, too. Grew up in a fairly sparse Puritan tradition.
Right, where churches were very plain.
So these incredibly ornate medieval cathedrals taking decades to build must have seemed, well, almost alien. That fascination really comes through.
So the setting, we're talking the anarchy, right? That messy English Civil War between Stephen and Maud.
Peak chaos. And architecturally, it's fascinating because you see Gothic style kind of emerging, stretching upwards from the older, heavier Romanesque designs.
Okay, but focusing so much on architecture for such a long book. What's the bigger picture there? Is it just about stone?
Well, no, not at all. That shift, Romanesque to Gothic, it needed new engineering, sure, but also massive amounts of money and resources.
So it ties into the economy.
Precisely. The novel tracks Kingsbridge, the fictional town, growing from basically nothing into a real economic center. It's really about the rise of merchants and artisans.
The middle class, sort of?
Kind of, yeah. Them fighting for their own power, their own autonomy against the old feudal lords because, they were the ones paying for this huge cathedral project.
But trying to build something that huge, that permanent, in the middle of a civil war.
Wow.
That sounds like trouble, political trouble.
Oh, absolutely. That's the core conflict. You've got the honest mason, Tom Builder, and later his stepson, Jack Jackson, who's this brilliant architect.
And master builder, yeah.
And they're constantly battling these corrupt figures, Bishop Walleran Bigod, who's all about church power, and the nobleman William Hamley, who's just ruthless.
So it's ideals versus corruption, construction versus destruction.
Pretty much. And Follett weaves in this incredible long game mystery. It takes hundreds of pages, but eventually it blows wide open.
What's that?
It turns out Jack's father, Jacques Cherbourg, he didn't just die randomly. He was framed and executed.
Why?
To stop him revealing a plot by some powerful barons.
A plot about what? Wait, don't tell me. The White Ship.
You got it. The theory in the book is that they deliberately sank the White Ship to kill the heir and basically rig the succession. Jack's father knew.
Wow, so Jack's personal family story connects right to the top level of English politics and, terrorism, essentially.
It's pure Follett plotting, that thriller engine driving the history.
Speaking of clever tactics, we have to mention Jack and the Weeping Madonna, that famous scene.
Yeah, yes. The statue that seems to cry when you move it from, like, a warm place to a cold one.
Pure stagecraft, right. But it worked.
It did. Follett shows how these practical, clever builders could use the appearance of a miracle, use faith itself, to get the very real funding they needed for the cathedral. It's a bit cynical, maybe, but realistic.
Okay, so the book feels incredibly real, vivid, but you mentioned realism. How much did Follett actually bend the historical facts for the story?
Well, quite a bit in the small details, actually. Critics and history buffs point out some definite anachronisms.
Like what?
Things like the horse chestnut tree, the one Tom's first wife gives birth under. Those trees weren't in England until the 16th century.
Huh, okay. Anything else?
Yeah. Minor things, mostly. Sugar wouldn't have been common outside maybe the very highest court circles, and using hops in, food production wasn't really a thing yet. Oh, and squirrels, they don't truly hibernate in the UK, though they do get sluggish in winter.
Tiny details, maybe, but interesting catches. Still, none of that stopped the book becoming massive, right?
Not at all. It was, and probably still is, his best-selling book. Huge cultural impact. Oprah's book club in 2007, BBC's big read list.
And it went beyond the page, too. Miniseries, video games.
Yeah, the 2010 miniseries was quite popular, and there was a video game adaptation in 2017. Personally, I loved the German-style board game from 2006. It even won awards.
So, a true multimedia phenomenon. And the ending, it loops back to actual history again, doesn't it? With Thomas Becket.
It does. The characters' fates get tied up with Becket's martyrdom. And that event was so significant because it forced King Henry II, a powerful king, to publicly repent.
showing the limits of royal power against the church and, I suppose, popular feeling.
Exactly. Which kind of brings us to the big final thought the book leaves you with, I think.
Which is,
Well, in this world, Follett paints full of chaos, war, corruption, the whole anarchy, maybe the only real way to fight back, to find some meaning or victory. Is it building something lasting, something beautiful and permanent like that cathedral? Is that how you defeat the chaos?